I drove her this morning. And I forgot! You know how my fucking brain works! After the broadcast, put the focus over there. I know you work, you work, you work. Make lunches, really? No. I put his lunches together. There's sliced apples in the container. Well, that's your fault for not telling me. Jaden Sims. Okay, okay. Oh, the scriptures? Yeah. 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 Right. What, with my leftover money? Not yet. Okay, then don't tell me if I'm getting you any surprises or not. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Homestead-Miami Speedway for round number 15 of the iCast Racing Network's season finale of the Fast Action Racing Series right here on the iCast Racing Network. Presented by, or powered by iRacing. My name is Mike Taylor. I'm up here in the booth today, and we are possibly going to be joined by Jeff Engel as he is here in the server today. We have some very, very fun, exciting racing coming for you tonight. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to run through just a couple things here. With it indeed being the absolute final race of season 1 for the Fast Action Racing Series, we have 3 drivers that could potentially win the race, or I'm sorry, win the championship here tonight. And I am going to discuss all that with you guys here momentarily. Your race leader, Dan Adkins, he leads Lucas Edwards by only 27 points. And then from Dan Adkins to third place, Dakota LaRue, your Daytona winner, you've got 29 points. So how did these 3 drivers clinch the championship today? Well, today, Dan Adkins in that machine is going to be one of the ones to absolutely watch. And let's get a bird's eye view on Dan Adkins right now. Dan Adkins in that number 91 Hoker Trucking LLC sponsored Chevrolet out of Milford, Indiana. This is what has got to happen in order for him to clinch that championship today. As we take a look here and see where everybody stands on top of this practice, as we have just under 8 minutes left. So we're going to do this real quick. So let me know if you can keep up. So to clinch the championship, he needs to get more than 92 race points. Now remember, you've got bonus points, and you have 18 bonus points in this series. So this is what he has to do. With no bonus points, if he doesn't lead a lap, if he doesn't lead the most laps, if he doesn't sit on pole, he doesn't win the race. All he needs to do is get 4th or better with no bonuses. At that point, it doesn't matter where the other drivers finish. So, with no bonus points, he needs to finish 5th or better. With 2 bonus points, he needs to finish 5th or better. 3 bonus points, he's got to finish 6th or better, etc. on down. If Dan scores 90 points in P5, no bonuses, okay, Lucas can still beat Dan with a perfect score of 118, meaning winning the race, fastest lap, pole on qualifying, lead the most laps, lead a lap. That's what he has to do. He's got to have this race perfect in order for him to beat him if Dan finishes 5th with no bonus points. So your race leader, your points leader, Dan Adkins, must finish 4th or better, or 5th with no bonuses. But Lucas has to sweep it if he wants to win. Assuming Dan gets no bonuses, Assuming Dan gets no bonuses whatsoever, the only way for Lucas to win this, okay? Lucas wins, sweep all the bonus points. Dan must finish 5th or worse. If Lucas gets 116 points, Dan must be 7th or less. Again, this is with no bonus points whatsoever. This is what it boils down to. 114 points, Dan must be in 9th. 112 points, Dan must be 11th. And remember that again, this is no bonus points. Lucas will also need to finish 2 points ahead of Dakota LaRue. Simply finishing ahead by 1 position should cover that, depending on where they finish in the lineup today. So, currently, your fastest runner, the 87 of Lucas Edwards, out of Westerly, Rhode Island, in that Aaron's RCA machine. That's what he has to do. It's a very tall task for Lucas Edwards to win the championship tonight, but it is not out of the question. For Dakota to beat Dan and Lucas, he must outscore Dan by at least 30 points. Plain and simple. And he has to finish ahead of Lucas by 3 points. So, Dakota versus Dan. Again, assuming Dan gets no bonuses. Dakota gets a perfect run today. 118 points. Dan must finish 7th or worse. And so on and so forth. And Dakota must also keep 3 points over Lucas. As this race goes on, I will absolutely do my best to keep you guys updated. Currently, we have a total of 13 drivers putting down lap times. But here with just 3 minutes remaining in practice, anybody else can show up. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a really good race just for this championship alone. Let's take a look at Dakota LaRue in that number 88 Goodrich. Let me go ahead and make sure my trading paints here is up and running. So the cars may turn white for just a moment. And I need to update a couple images here, as I just realized my overlays has the tube frame twister series. So let me go ahead and jump real quick and get that taken care of, so that we have the correct league that is running here on the screen. I apologize about that, ladies and gentlemen, but that will only take me here just a few quick moments. There we are. All right. So we want to change this here. This here. Kaboom. That works. This. And we are going to get rid of this one here. fly. Okay, beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we've got right logos have been updated. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. Who will get the poll for tonight's season finale right here at Homestead-Miami Speedway? It is totally on right now, you guys. I'm so stoked. I am so excited to get this underway. Like, right now, guys, I don't even care about qualifying. I just want to get to the racing action as fast as we can. As we take a look here, we have Dakota LaRue swinging around this fast mile-and-a-half speedway, and he will put down a lap time of a 33.26. And Lucas Edwards, he will come in with a 33.11. So far, so good here for Lucas Edwards in that number 87 machine. And as long as he, like I said, as long as he can keep Alrighty, there comes Edwards down after putting a lap time of 32.96. That is a very fast time for him. Here comes Dan Atkins in that number 91, your points leader, as he comes around turns 1 and 2 and heading down into 3 and 4 to see if he can better his lap time from that 6 spots of a 33.23, which really isn't that far off from your current first place of Lucas Edwards, and that will move Dan Atkins up to the 3rd spot with a 33.13. Looks like Keegan Fry has finished his run. Keegan Browning is joining Fast Action Racing Series here at Homestead, making his first appearance here with the series. So we would like to welcome Keegan Browning in that number 53 Mobile One Toyota. And another notable newcomer is also going to be Zach Britt in that number 9 Ford F-150 machine. We will get more information about him here in just a few moments as Keegan Brown comes out of turn number 4 and he will get the white flag. It looked like there was a possibility that he got up into the wall there on his first lap, and he might have touched the wall there again. And if it registers as a 0x, iRacing will deem it as a non-qualifying lap. So let's see if Keegan now can get himself up on the board right here as he comes towards start finish line. And once again, he did end up tapping the wall. So he's got to get that car off the wall in 1 and 2. And he seems to do okay here, getting back up very close to that wall, able to keep it off as he comes down the front back straightaway here, heading down into turn number 3 and 4. And Keegan Browning keeping it off the wall. And this will give him a qualifying lap of a 33.46. That will put Keegan Browning currently P9 on the field. Jacob Van out of Wesley Chapel, Florida, waiting to see if he's going to come out and put out a qualifying run, along with Brad Paul Sr., whom we are still waiting on there as well. As you see Jacob Van in his number 1 Guardian machine coming out of turn number 2 to come down this back straightaway as the sun is setting here at Homestead. It's going to be pretty tough for these drivers to see on the front straightaway as you see Jacob Van coming out of turn number 4, and he will get the white flag this time by. One more lap here for Jacob Van to figure out where he will be for the start of this race. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as we finish up qualifying here with just under 2 minutes remaining, I am doing a quick recalculation for all of your drivers here to possibly see who all will, what it will actually take for all these drivers to do it, and see if there's any difference with only being 12 drivers here, because I think I originally calculated here for 17 drivers. So while we finish this up, let's see if we can get a quick word with Lucas Edwards, your current pole sitter. Lucas Edwards, this is Mike Taylor up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
You got me?
Oh, I do now. How you doing today, Mr. Edwards?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good already. So, um, as I stated earlier this week, you only need to pretty much sweep the entire event, meaning pull the race win, most laps led, lead a lap, all that other great stuff in order to outbeat the current points leader of Dan Adkins. With you getting on pole today, do you feel like that you have what it takes to sweep it all today?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm hoping so, but tire wear is going to be a thing here. So, and some of these tracks, I'm not very good at saving tires, and I feel like this is one of them. But we'll see how it goes. Um, if I can at least do what I did at Vegas and jump out, and lead most of the laps, and this time not kill my tires, I think I got a shot.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw you back up there, sir. Good luck today. Have fun. And please pass along the word to Dan that I will be pulling him under one of the cautions to have a quick word with him.
We'll do.
Alrighty, so we will speak with your points leader here momentarily. Um, but let's go ahead and get this thing underway, ladies and gentlemen. And let's take a look at your starting lineup for the season finale of the Fast Action Racing Series right here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. On the pole is your second place in the points of Lucas Edwards. On his outside is going to be newcomer Joseph Nelson making his second start in that number 54 Ally Chevy Silverado. Starting behind Lucas Edwards in that number 91 for the third spot is your points leader of Dan Atkins. And to his outside is going to be Jordan Martin in that number 13. Dakota LaRue will start on the outside or the inside of row number 3. Oh, I did not mean to do that. And to his outside is going to be Jaden Sims, newcomer, in that number 7 machine. Kian Fry, he will be in that number 14 on the inside of row number 4 with Jacob Van on his outside in that number 1 machine. Inside row number 5, you have Andrew Schneider in the number 80 machine and Keegan Browning in that number 53. He will be starting in that 10th spot. Jake Lucas will be in starting 11th in that number 2 machine. And newcomer Zach Britt in the number 9. He will be starting 7th. And rounding out the field, it will be Brad Qualls Sr. in that number 31 machine. And that is your starting lineup for this race. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are green flag racing here at Homestead-Miami. Dan Atkins giving your race leader Lucas Edwards a really good push heading down into turn number 1. And now Dan Atkins is racing side by side with Joseph Nelson in number 54 as they come down the back straightaway. Joseph Nelson will get in front of Dan Atkins as Jordan Martin Dakota LaRue looking to get on the inside of Dan Atkins. And Atkins comes back fighting on the inside for that number 2 spot. And Chekhov leading a lap for Lucas Edwards. He needs to continue this sweep of everything today in order to win the championship. Lucas Edwards out front, followed by Joseph Nelson in that number 54 machine. As you see Dakota LaRue in that number 88 Goodrich Chevrolet getting a run on Dan Atkins as they come running side by side out of turn number 4. As we work lap number 3 of the 101 lap race. Your drivers still running side by side up here for the top 3. And Dakota LaRue will get behind Dan Atkins, but here comes Dakota LaRue coming around the inside of Dan Atkins, looking to get a good run on that number 54 of Nelson at turn number 4. We have a very long way to go, ladies and gentlemen, from Homestead-Miami. As Lucas Edwards stated a little bit ago, tire wear is going to be one of the biggest things here, and these drivers are going to have to watch that. So, could it come down to who can save the tires, who cannot save tires? Is that what it's going to take to win the championship for these 3 drivers? Right now, your top 4 consists of all 3 of your point leaders: Lucas Edwards, Dan Atkins, and Dakota LaRue. Currently, your points leader is sitting back behind, or sitting in front. I'm sorry, my brain is going faster. I'm so excited, you guys. Dan Atkins is behind the top 2 drivers in the point, the bottom 2 drivers in points that are behind him, and this is not good so far for Dan Atkins. Let's jump back a little bit here to Jaden Sims in that number 7 machine, as he's trying to make a run on Zach Britt in that number 9 machine, as he gets in front of Jaden Sims and Kian Fry in that number 14 machine. That is a beautiful paint scheme there for Zach Britt. Wrong car number, but it is a very beautiful paint scheme. As you see Jaden Sims make a good dive on the inside as they head down into turn number 1. And it looks like Jaden Sims, he is going to be able to almost make that pass out of 2, but that high side just has the momentum out of the corner, as we have a little radio issue there for the number 7. Let's make sure that they can get that fixed. But let's jump back here to the number 1 of Jacob Van out of Wesley Chapel, Florida. He's duking it out with Kian Fry out of Jasper, Missouri. And here comes Keegan Brown in that number 53 Toyota, in that Toyota Tundra truck, as they come down this back straightaway. Keegan Browning making his debut with Fast Action Racing Series. Looking forward to next season when these cars will go to the ARCA Series running short tracks, as you see the 7 of Jaden Sims up in the wall, and that will allow the cars behind him to get a good run on him. Kian Fry goes around. Jaden Sims goes around him. Jacob Van is trying to go around him now, as they come out of turn number 2 to come down this back straightaway. A lot of really good racing currently right back here in the back. Let's ride on board here with Jacob Van, as he is battling it out for position out of turn number 4. He had to lift there, just as you heard the tire slide, as the 7 of Jaden Sims hits the wall coming out of turn number 4. And it looks like Van is getting a good run here through 1 and 2. And back onto the back straightaway these guys go. Very, very good racing currently for this race positions. Let's make our way up here as we have a pass for second place. Dakota LaRue is trying to get around that number 54 of Joseph Nelson for that second spot. Nelson will climb up the banking, and LaRue will slide around that white line, and he will come up right in front of Joseph Nelson. And now Dakota LaRue in that number 88 Goodwrench Chevrolet for Grease Monkey Motorsports. He is tracking down Lucas Edwards, your current race leader. There is a lot at stake here for this race, ladies and gentlemen. And your top two drivers are trying to take the championship away from Dan Atkins. It is going to have to be a big, big jump in order for it to happen. Dan Atkins is going to have issues. But out of all the races this season, Dan Atkins has not had many issues except in maybe two races out of the entire season. And one of them notably at Bristol early on this season, where he had a damage from contact with a lap down car, and that took his tire out of alignment and it really slowed him down. So Dan Atkins has to rise and he needs to stay where he is at today, right now, in order for that championship to come in play. So, as long as Dan Atkins places fourth with no bonuses, no leading a lap, nothing of that sort, he will clinch the championship. So that is something that we will be watching for the moment. If Jordan Martin, just like he did now out of turn number 2, that would drop him out of the possibility of winning this championship. But if that is the case, if he gets 2 bonus points and finishes 5th, he will absolutely be perfect. So, let's go ahead and take a moment and review the bonus points here that I am seeing. I am going to absolutely be trying to keep track of all these points, ladies and gentlemen. So please bear with me here as I go through all of this, as there's going to be a lot of interesting things happening. All right, your bonus points are as follow. Per win. 3 lap, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points are up for grabs and bonus points. Okay? Your most laps led is 3 points. Leading a lap is 2 points. Your fastest lap is 2 points. Your pole is 1 point. So, as of right now, we know for a fact that Lucas Edwards, your current race leader, has clinched at least right now 1 point. All right. I made a mistake in my calculations, ladies and gentlemen. I was calculating 18 bonus points when there is, in fact, only 8 points. I do apologize about that. I am going to get these recalculations put in right now. So, for Dan Atkins to get the championship today, he needs to clinch at least 4th with no bonus points. So, with him sitting currently in that fourth spot, he will clinch the championship no matter what. If he gets 2 bonus points, he can get fifth with no issues. 3 or more, he needs to finish sixth. 4 or more, he needs to finish seventh. So we are going to keep a very close eye on that. Lucas Edwards must outscore Dan by 28 points and finish 2 points ahead of Dakota LaRue. So, if Dan must finish fifth or less to lose the championship, if Lucas Edwards maxes out on points. If he does not, Dan needs to finish seventh and less in order to lose or to win the championship. Any damn points reduce Lucas's window one for one. So he must always stay above 2 points in front of Dakota. So if he gets 1 bonus point, Dan must finish seventh. Dan gets 3 bonus points, he must finish ninth. Or Dan must finish ninth. So on and so forth. Dakota LaRue, he is your long shot here. Dan must finish seventh or less with no bonus points, but must finish 3 points ahead of Lucas in order to win the championship. So I'm going to do my best, like I said here, ladies and gentlemen, and calculate all of this for you. So while we are watching Dan Atkins currently run around this speedway with no issues, let's take a look at your race leader currently of Lucas Edwards. As of right now, he is doing pretty good on out front here with just 25 laps or 24 laps now in the book. Let's go ahead and take a look through the field and see if we can find some awesome racing going on. Currently, everybody is pretty much spread out currently through the field. And while we are just turning laps here, I will be stepping away. I will be right back. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize about that. Something happened and I had to go see to it, but don't worry, I am back right here on the iCast Racing Network. And you did not miss a thing. Nothing has changed since I stepped away. Let's come back here to Dan Atkins, who is currently being chased by newcomer Zach Britt in that beautiful Budweiser #2 machine as they come out of turn #2, coming down this back straightaway. Dan Atkins trying to hold off Zach Britt. He is trying to hold off Zach Britt in that #9 machine. If Dan Atkins falls back to that #5 spot, that can be disastrous. As you see Dan Atkins get into the wall in turn 2, that is going to change the way his truck drives. It wasn't too much heavy contact, but that might have been just enough for his handling to change in that machine. We will have to keep an eye on that and keep an eye on the current pace of Dan Atkins. All right. As of right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am taking a look to see about what the best lap times, and currently it is Dakota LaRue in that #88 machine with the fastest time. So remember, that all can change in a heartbeat. So that is something that we will keep an eye on as well. So currently, bonus points. As these drivers run right now, I will bring that up here on screen here in just a brief moment. And throughout this entire race, ladies and gentlemen, I will do my best to keep it updated just for you guys. And just so that you guys can see this as I am doing it. We have Dan Atkins. Ugh. Currently in the 5th spot. All right. As you can see that as it pops up here on my screen, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Atkins currently had in P5 with 0 bonus points. And that is not looking good for Dan Atkins there. Now we're going to go. We're going to come down here to Lucas Edwards. Who is currently your race leader. And as of right now, for getting the pole and currently leading a lap and most laps led, currently he has 6 bonus points, but this could all change in the matter of this race, as we still have a very long way to go in this race. as you see Jordan Martin in that number 13 machine trying to make his way around the number 87 as they come out of turn 2, and a little bit sideways goes Jordan Martin as he's trying to make his way to the inside of Lucas Edwards for that spot. All these other drivers can have things taken from them as they start marching around this speedway. And we are going to now take a look here at Dakota LaRue's information as he is currently running P3 as Jordan Martin is on the inside of Lucas Edwards, and he will make the pass out of turn number 2. That is going to be big as now Dakota LaRue is now right behind him in that third spot. And he currently has 0 bonus points at the moment. And here comes Dakota LaRue to take over that second spot. And that means Lucas Edwards will now follow back or fall all the way back to that third spot. But for the time being, Lucas Edwards, he does hold 6 bonus points currently, but he needs to get the fastest lap as well in order to make it stick. Dan Atkins now still sitting back in that number 5 spot. Your points we are going to go ahead and also post your current points, or not the current points, but the standings here, as you see the 87 losing another spot as he falls now back to, oh no, the 54. He made a pit stop. He's trying to make his way back around the front to get some of his laps back. So at the time of the beginning of this race, I'm going to start to show '83. Dakota LaRue. He was sitting at 2381 points. All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your point standings before this race. And as of right now, your fastest lap does belong to Dakota LaRue. And that does carry 2 extra bonus points for the moment. So for Dakota LaRue, we will update that to 2 points. Still a very, very long race to go, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas Edwards now back in that number 3 spot. And Dan Atkins, he is slowly approaching As you see, Dan Atkins once again rides the wall through turns 1 and 2 as he is able to start making ground on Zach Britt and the 80 machine of Andrew Schneider. As you see him coming, starting to make his way back around to the get his lap back here. Jordan Martin out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. He is out front for the time being, but right now, the guy that has led the most laps is going to be Dakota LaRue. I'm sorry, not Dakota LaRue, Lucas Edwards, ladies and gentlemen. But again, all that can change in due time as we continue to see these cars tick off the laps. We are coming down to lap 50 as you see here, as they come out of turn number 2, heading down into turn number 3. As they continue. Alrighty, here, ladies and gentlemen, Lucas Edwards is now down on pit road for his scheduled pit stop. And we have to watch out front to see when these other drivers will come down to pit road. Dakota LaRue is on down on pit road here as well. Now it's going to be all about when Dan Atkins will come down pit road. This is getting very intense here, ladies and gentlemen, with less than 50 laps remaining. As you see, the 87 of Lucas Edwards getting around the 91, and he gets around Dakota LaRue, and Dakota LaRue will fall back once again behind, and Dakota LaRue will go around the number 91, as it looks like the number 91 is looking to come down pit road this time. He needs to make sure he hits his marks and not speed here on his pit stop, as that could mean the end to his championship run. So far, he is all clean and green. Here you see the number 13 down on the inside. He's going to woe it down and bring his number 13 machine down on the pit road of Jordan Martin. Make sure he does not hit the wall. And let's jump back out here to Lucas Edwards and see where that will bring him. Let me take a look here. This is going to be very important here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and the 13 of Jordan Martin goes around in the grass out of the pits. That is going to be a lot of time lost for Jordan Martin in that number 13 machine as he gets moving on down on pit road. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye, ladies and gentlemen, as he looped it coming back out onto the speedway. But let's come back out here with Lucas Edwards. I believe we are still waiting for the four drivers in front of him to pit. Oh, as it looks like actually all of your drivers have actually indeed have made their pit stops, and that will actually turn the race lead currently over to the number 54 of Joseph Nelson, as he's making his way up here through turns 3 and 4. And I will update the corner there of those lists of drivers here in just a few moments as we watch. There we go. All right, as we watch Lucas Edwards march around this speedway. So I got a little bit of permission to do this and use these guys as a little test session. So that's exactly what I am going to do here. All right. So we are going to show you a track map of this speedway. So we want to single out the number 87 of Lucas Edwards. We want to single out the number 88 of Dakota LaRue, and we want to single out the 91 of Dan Adkins, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can get this working here, ladies and gentlemen, as Lucas Edwards makes his way around Keegan Browning in that number 53 machine for the second spot. Dakota LaRue right on the back bumper of Lucas Edwards as they come to lap number 61. 41 laps remaining here in the books. Dakota LaRue trying to make something happen here tonight to possibly get himself the championship. As this battle here intensifies for that second spot, they are quickly getting up next, or about to pass P1, the number 54 of newcomer Joseph Nelson, as Dakota LaRue will push. Oh, and we have trouble in turn 3. Incredible save by Lucas Edwards in that number 87. And Dakota LaRue will back it down and not take advantage of that looseness. That was incredible save right there by Lucas Edwards. All right, here we go. I got it going. So Lucas Edwards, Dakota LaRue, and Dan Atkins are now on your track map here. That is the separation between Edwards, Dakota LaRue, and Dan Atkins. This right here is your championship running. As you guys seen right here, ladies and gentlemen, Dakota LaRue in that number 88 Goodwrench Chevrolet, he has gotten around Lucas Edwards, and this is going to tack on 2 bonus points right there. Just want to verify this should add on, yes, 2 bonus points for your race leader of Dakota LaRue. So let's go ahead and take a moment and let's update this. Who currently has the best time? Dakota LaRue with a 33.26. Edwards a 33.26. We have to figure out who actually has the quicker time in this session, because if that is the case, then the only if iRacing's telemetry deems that Lucas Edwards had indeed had the fastest lap, so we're going to change that to 4 for the time being. And we will actually take it away for now. So, Dakota LaRue with leading a lap got 2 bonus points. 6 bonus points currently for Lucas Edwards. And currently running positions. Currently you have Dakota LaRue is your current race leader. Lucas Edwards is currently in the second spot. And Dan Atkins is in that spot that he does not want to be in, ladies and gentlemen, and that is P5. That is absolutely not where he wants to be. So, with that being said, we will do a very quick rundown of the points as it stands. So, as of right now, if this were to end right now, oops. As of right now, as it stands, Dan Atkins would finish this race with 2,500 points. Lucas Edwards as if they were to end it right now as is, running in that second spot. That's 110 points. Give me just a moment here. Got to calculate some stuff here real quick. See? So, as of right now, if it were to end right now, he would have 100 points added to his numbers in for finishing P2. And he currently has 6 bonus points. That's 106 points, and you add it to his 2383. As of right now, as it stands, it would be 2,489 points. And for Dakota LaRue, who is your current race leader, his current points before this race started is 2381. With right now, for the moment, with 2 bonus points, and he gets that 110 points for winning, he would be sitting at 2,493 points. So as you see right there, ladies and gentlemen, as if the race were to finish right now with 26 laps to go, your season champion by 7 points would be Dan Adkins. Now, once this race is finished, we are going to stay live with Jordan Martin in that number 13 machine to get the final results. Right there, Dan Adkins just moved up to that 4th spot as he continues to run side by side with that number 9 of Zach Britt. At this time, it is okay if he doesn't get up into 4th, but if he gets that 4th spot, that will solidify even more that finish that he is looking for to win this championship here tonight. As we see him duking it out here with the 2, trying to get around that lap car of Kean Fry in the number 14. And that right there will just make it easier for him to get around that number 9 car and sit himself into that 4th position. So, with him now moving up into that number 4 spot, that will add 2 more points to his current points lead. As you see the lap down car of the number 1 of Jacob Van getting around these 2 drivers as Edwards bounces off the wall again, and that will allow Zach Britt to get alongside of him here on the front straightaway, and he will continue to hold position in that number 9 machine as they go through turns 1 and 2. As you see sparks fly continue out of the bottom of that number 91 machine. On my screen, according to iRacing, Dan Atkins is bouncing off the wall here with just about 21 laps now remaining If you look at our track map, that is the distance between your race lead of Dakota LaRue, and then that's the difference between first and second of Dakota LaRue and Lucas Edwards as they go down the back straightaway. As we continue to watch Dan Atkins in that number 91 machine fight hard with Zach Britt in that number 9 back here for that number 4 spot, and neither one of these drivers are wanting to give up that uh, 4th spot. Again, even if the race were to end right now, Dan Atkins will have the championship in his back pocket. These drivers will possibly, maybe have one more pit stop. And Dan Atkins gets extremely loosened into the wall at a turn number 2, as you guys just saw. This is getting insane here, ladies and gentlemen. As Dan Atkins and Zach Britt keep moving positions. And this will put Dan Atkins back into that number 5 spot. "19 laps remaining, coming around 18 laps remaining," as you see Dan Atkins getting loose here once again in that number 91 machine, as he's dropped back to that number 5 spot. And that will take 2 more points off of Dan Atkins' points and put him back at 2,500 for in points, but he is still your points leader. Dan Atkins, this should solidify him as your champion, ladies and gentlemen, with this run here in P5. Keegan Browning seemed like he went off track for just a moment, but here he comes. Let's take a look here at Keegan Browning. Looks like he is having some radio difficulties on himself. But let's get back up here with your race leader of Dakota LaRue, as he was able to get around the number 31 and the number 54 to put them a lap down. Ladies and gentlemen, that puts 5 cars now on the lead lap. Dakota LaRue continuing to march his way around this speedway. Lucas Edwards has led 40 laps. I am unsure exactly how many laps Dakota LaRue has led. Give me just a moment here. Let me see if I can pull up that information for you. I'm looking at the info that I'm able to pull up. Push to pass. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. This here will give us just about who has the quickest lap time. Let's hide this. No, want that, hide that one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you see right now, neither Dakota LaRue or Lucas Edwards leads the most laps. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as of right now, like I said, 33.1 is your fastest lap, and that came out of Joseph Nelson in that number 54 machine, and that is going to make a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen. So that means there is no bonus points currently for those two drivers. So, just for the time being, we are going to stay right here as you see their last lap times. Edwards a lot faster than Dakota LaRue that time. As you see Dakota LaRue on the inside, letting those faster cars go around the outside. And there is Lucas Edwards in back behind him. As your race leader comes through turns 3 and 4, he will stay out and down on the inside lane. 10 laps now remaining in this race, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go back here and double check my information just for you guys. For leading the most laps is 3 points. Leading a lap is 2 points. Fastest lap is 2 points. We know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, that at this moment that I can calculate in my head, Lucas Edwards currently sits with 6 points for leading the most laps, 2 points for a lap led, and 1 for the pole. Dakota LaRue, he has 2 bonus points currently for leading a lap. So currently, my calculations are correct. Now, the question still remains. Will Lucas Edwards be able to catch Dakota LaRue in that number 88 machine? If that was the case, ladies and gentlemen, that would add 10 points Oh, that would be very close if Lucas Edwards were to get around Dakota LaRue as it stands and win this race. That will mean Dan Atkins would win the championship by 1 point. Just 1 point. That means we need Dan Atkins to fall back 1 more spot. And currently, as we stand, let's go ahead and let's add Nelson to our track map. Just so you can get a general idea. Nelson still way back. It does not seem that that is going to make a huge difference for the moment. Let's catch back up here, ladies and gentlemen, with Dakota LaRue with 5 laps remaining here at Homestead-Miami. And it is all on the line now. It has to be nice, smooth sailing for Dan Atkins in that number 91 machine to bring home the win. Here they come once again here, ladies and gentlemen, marching through turns 1 and 2. He's got 2 lap cars in front of him the 31 the 31 of Brad Quall Sr. and that number 54 machine of Joseph Nelson, as he's looking to put these drivers another or put them back one lap down. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I think that was the 53 of, yeah, Keegan Browning, the number 53. I apologize about that, ladies and gentlemen. He is looking to put both of these drivers here a lap down, which is your 7th and 8th place drivers, as he comes through turns 3 and 4. Dakota LaRue looking for his second win of the season. He has not seen a win since the very first race of the season, ladies and gentlemen. So he will get this monkey off of his back that he's been fighting all season long. And 2 to go from our flagman that time by, as he's now making a move on the inside of that number 31 machine of Brad Quall Sr. to put him a lap down. And regardless of how it stands, ladies and gentlemen, the white flag will fly for Dakota LaRue of Grease Monkey Motorsports, as they now will come through turns 1 and 2. As you see these drivers now flying down the back straightaway, coming out or through 3 and 4 for the final time, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 15 winner will be the number 88 of Dakota LaRue. Dakota LaRue taking home the checkered flag. But ladies and gentlemen, if my point calculations, we're going to sit here and watch Dan Adkins come out of 2 and down, or 4 out of, come into the checkered flag. Your season 1 champion will be Dan Adkins. And we will wait for confirmation from
I don't
that.
know how that's possible.
We will wait for confirmation from race officials.
Good win, Dakota.
Thank you, man. Good championship.
As these drivers will come around, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Adkins, he will bring home, hopefully, what I believe is going to be the championship. But we will wait for confirmation on that, as you see Dakota LaRue going to come down and burn it down here on the front straightaway. Oh, come on now. Dakota LaRue. This is Mike Taylor up in the booth. Do you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
Dakota LaRue, it has been a very long 14 races since we have spoken, since your season opening win here here in Florida at Daytona. Well, you brought it home here in Miami to sandwich the season. Congratulations on your win tonight. How do you feel? And let's talk about your thoughts coming into this race.
My thoughts coming into this race was, if I can't win the championship, I want to win the race, and that's kind of what I went out and did. After Daytona, I believe it was, where I got a black flag, and last week, right when I didn't win the race, I ended up finishing P2, kind of just cemented Dan having the championship unlock.
Absolutely. I was trying to keep up with the points as this race went on. With you clinching the win, believe it or not, that actually just separates you and Dan Atkins by 7 points, and that will actually move you up to second in the point standings if my calculations are correct. So based off of everything that I've put together, the bonus points and everything like that, you moved in front of Lucas Edwards for that second spot in the championships. How do you feel about that, even though you weren't able to bring it home with the championship today?
PT's just first loser. That's all that means.
It was still an incredible season for you, Dakota. Congratulations on your win today. Will you be joining us a little bit next season?
I might do a couple one-offs, but I'm not running the full season.
Alrighty, Dakota. We look forward to those couple one-offs next season, and we will hopefully get to talk to you again at some point.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was your race winner. Let's go ahead and pull down. Where am I at? Let's go ahead and pull down my calculations, if they are correct. Your championship points winner and your season one winner for Fast Action Racing Series, Dan Atkins, in that number 91 machine. Dan Atkins, congratulations, buddy, on an awesome season, and clinching the title in the inaugural season for Fast Action Racing Series. How do you feel, and were you worried today coming into the race?
Coming into it, I wasn't worried, but during the race, I started getting worried. I was struggling bad. I just kept burning the tires off of it. I was struggling, so I didn't even know where I needed to finish to be able to lock it up. But I just tried to hold whatever I could, and I guess fifth is good enough to bring home a championship.
Absolutely. Throughout this race, Dan, I was trying to calculate everything, including bonus points, not bonus points, every which way. And if my calculations are correct, and it hopefully will line up with what Jordan Martin will post here momentarily, I found you at the top of the board with 2,500 points, with Dakota LaRue taking second, only 7 points back.
I knew it was gonna be close. I knew it was gonna. I figured it was gonna be a little closer than that, but I didn't. I wasn't sure. Yeah, Dakota and Lucas and even Jordan, they started kind of heating up in the playoffs. Had they done that throughout the season like that, they ran the playoffs or whatever, the chase. I wouldn't be winning the championship today because Dakota and Lucas picked up some consistency, and that's what's gonna win it.
Absolutely. And Dan, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, you had a very strong performance season all around, except at Bristol and one other race that I can't think of off the top of my head. But you were pretty consistent, top five majority of the season. So you came off strong, and you had a decent points lead, and it was going to take a Hail Mary for somebody to take it from you. And I thought there for a little while that it was very possible that Edwards was going to get in front of you, but at the end of the day, you did bring it home fifth, exactly where you needed to be without any bonus points. So, with that being said, Dan, I'm going to congratulate you
Yeah,
one more time on
appreciate
your
it.
season one um, championship here with Fast Action Racing Series. I'm going to go ahead and throw you back up, and I'm going
All right,
to join
appreciate
you
it, Mike.
guys. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your race, your Fast Action Racing Series championship winner, Dan Atkins, in that number 91 machine. Let me go ahead.
Started.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jordan. I will. Am I safe to come up with you guys in chat?
Yeah, you're good. We're just talking.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am now here in the driver's booth, not the broadcast booth. I made my way down trackside. We're going to talk with a couple drivers here. Um, First off, I want to talk with Joseph Nelson in the number 54. Joseph, do you got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Joseph, this is, I believe, only your second event here with Fast Action Racing Series. Um, did you enjoy the first couple races, and will you be joining us again next season?
Yeah, 100%, man. I've been really enjoying my time here. I've been impressed by the talent level and the management system and how clean these guys are. And I'm looking forward to the next season where we're running some short tracks because that's kind of my wheelhouse a little bit.
Awesome. That's really awesome to hear, Joseph. And we'll definitely look forward to seeing you next season. Now I would like to reach out to Zach Britt in the number 7 machine. Zach, do you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Zach Britt, I am Mike. I know I haven't met with you before, but I am with the iCast Racing Network. Uh, you made your debut with us today here. You had a really strong run there, it seemed, and will you be joining us for the full season next season when we go to ARCA Racing?
Oh, definitely, and I definitely got to put more time in on the off season. Considering I've only owned iRacing for 4 days, I'm pretty stoked with how I ended up. But this league is something special. I will say that.
That is absolutely you only being 4 days here with iRacing. Well, first off, welcome to iRacing, buddy. Welcome to Fast Action Racing Series. We look forward to seeing you um, in the middle of next month when we go ARCA Racing. Let's see. Who else is in here? Talk to Dan, talk to you, talk to Dakota. Lucas, Mr. Lucas Edwards in the number 87. Finishing second today as my little monster is eating my corn on the cob. You jerk. Anyway, Lucas, you had a very strong dominant performance here today as well, leading the most laps. Um, Getting the pole position late in the race. Joseph Nelson actually took away the fastest lap away from you and Dakota both. So you were one spot and one fast lap away from clinching the championship. And unfortunately, with Dakota's finish today, if my calculations are correct, that did drop you back to third in the championship, which is still a good performance this season. How do you feel your day went tonight here at Homestead?
I mean, it went how I thought it would. I figured I could get up there lead laps, but I knew tire wear was gonna kill me. For some reason, I can't save at this track. But overall, pretty good. I'm glad to be second.
Oh, absolutely. As you did mention that early on, right before the green flag dropped, I was able to talk with you, and you were worried about that tire wear, but in the closing 10 laps, you were making progress on Dakota, but it just wasn't enough to fully gain back that 3.5 second lead that Dakota was able to put out on you. So congratulations, buddy, on your P2. Congratulations on getting third in the standings. That is still a remarkable run for you. So all three of you guys, Lucas, Dakota, and Dan, congratulations on your guys' podiums. Jordan Martin, do you got a copy?
I do. How's it going?
It's going, buddy. Alrighty, I know that you're over there crunching numbers. How's it looking on your side of things?
Seems like you've got it figured out pretty accurately. Dan won the championship tonight with 2,500 points total.
Okay.
Dakota went up to second with 2,493, and Lucas down to third with 2,489.
Alrighty.
What's the point?
You're the champion. That's all you need to know.
Dan Atkins, ladies and gentlemen, that has absolutely been confirmed. Dan Atkins will win the championship tonight here at Homestead-Miami with
Take a shot of whiskey over that.
a finish in the points of 2,500, followed by Dakota LaRue with just 7 points off at 2,493. and Lucas Edwards will come in third in championship points with 2,489 points. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Dan Atkins. Congratulations, Dan, on your win. We look forward to next season when Fast Action Racing Series goes live with short track ARCA racing right here on the iCast Racing Network. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys next time. Happy time zones.
This has been a production of the iCast Racing Network powered by iRacing. Thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe for notifications for all of our live events right here on YouTube and Twitch. We would like to thank SDK Gaming for their production overlays that makes this event enjoyable. Until next time, happy time zones.